On July 19th, 1977, the world teacher, the Christ Maitreya, head of the spiritual hierarchy, emerged from his ancient retreat and is now in the modern world. With his disciples, the masters of the wisdom, he will inaugurate the new age of synthesis and brotherhood.
Good morning and welcome to our World Teacher programme on Wellington Access Radio 106.1 FM, presented by Teresa and David on behalf of Share International New Zealand.
Our programme today is an introduction to transmission meditation. Benjamin Creme describes this most beneficial meditation in the following way.
As the energies of the incoming Age of Aquarius stimulate our hearts and minds, and as we begin to make contact with that higher aspect of ourselves, the soul, we experience an inner prompting to be of service to others. Inevitably, this brings us into contact with people and circumstances where this soul stimulus can be put to practical use.
Service is most potent when performed in group formation. As this relates to meditation, it is known that far greater energy can be handled by groups than by individuals meditating alone.
What is the purpose of meditation? All of us, without exception, are souls in incarnation. The true purpose of meditation of any kind is to bring the individual into contact with his or her soul. Meditation is a method, more or less scientific, depending on the meditation, of bringing about soul contact and eventually total union with the soul.
Many people today take up meditation, desire to serve, but find they have very little time and energy left over from their everyday life, looking after a family, the pressure of modern work conditions and so on. The stress of modern life makes it quite difficult for people to serve in a meaningful way.
There are many thousands of modern disciples or aspirants to discipleship who would serve if they could find a mode of service which would allow them the time to do the service, and also to care for their families, do their jobs, and take part in modern life. For just such people, transmission meditation has been created.
Introduced in 1974 by Benjamin Creme under the direction from his master, this is a form of service which is simple to do and is at the same time a powerful means of personal growth.
The meditation is a combination of two yogas, Karma Yoga, Yoga of Service, and Laya Yoga, Yoga of Energy or Chakras. It is a service in which we can be involved for the rest of our lives, knowing that we are helping the evolution of humanity into and beyond the new age. There are hundreds of transmission meditation groups active in many countries around the world.
Transmission meditation performs a number of different, very important facets of work. In the first place, it is an act of service. I know of no other means of service to the world of such potency, such value, such importance, and which is so clearly along the line of evolution of the plan, which at the same time is so simple and easy.
To become a saint is really quite difficult. To look after the starving, poverty-stricken millions in Calcutta is quite a task, as Mother Teresa knows. We are not all Mother Teresas, but all of us can give up a few hours a week to sit quietly, absorbing and transmitting the energy of hierarchy.
I cannot sufficiently emphasize the value of these few hours spent in this way. It helps the world more than we could know, and it is self-fulfilling as well. I know of no other method of service which makes for such fast and quick inner spiritual growth. It is a yoga and a field of service given to one on a plate.
It is impossible to do this work for any length of time without finding that it enhances any other work we might do. Most people, after 6 months or so of working in a transmission group, find themselves being subtly but quite definitely transformed inwardly, psychologically. It is impossible to transmit these great spiritual forces without being transformed at the same time.
The more the person meditates, the more energy is received from the soul, and the more the transformation of the individual's relation to the soul takes place. It is necessary to remember, in talking about the soul and its vehicle, the man or woman, that the relationship is internal. The soul is not speaking to the individual. The soul is impressing it with intention and releasing to it its spiritual energy. As soon as a degree of contact with the soul is made, the person begins to desire to serve the world in some way.
The purpose of the soul is to serve. That is why it comes into incarnation. With the continuance of meditation and a closer alignment with the soul, the desire to serve eventually becomes very strong. Individuals have free will. They may or may not serve as they wish.
If a person meditates, receives energy from the soul, but does not serve, the energy may create a block, a stasis, and all kinds of difficulties can arise. If, on the other hand, the person takes up the opportunity presented by the soul to serve the world, and does so to the best of his or her ability, things will tend to go well in his/her life. The purpose of the soul is being served.
The person becomes more and more impersonal in relation to the world, and so their own personal problems begin to fade into the background. He or she is usually healthier, happier, and therefore more balanced.
We are also working in cooperation with the masters. The hierarchy of masters are in the process of returning to the everyday world, and large numbers of them will be living openly among us. Their aim is to work in open, conscious relationship with humanity. In doing transmission meditation, we have an opportunity to begin the process of conscious cooperation with the masters.
The masters of our spiritual hierarchy are like the custodians of all the spiritual energies entering the planet. A large part of their work consists in scientifically distributing these energies in the way needed to carry out the plan of evolution, of which they are also the custodians.
The masters receive energies from cosmic, solar, and extraplanetary levels, and if they were to send them directly into the world as they receive them, for the most part the energies would be too high in vibration. They would simply bounce off the majority of humanity.
There are 7 force centers or chakras in the spine, from the base to the top of the head, through which energy can be sent and distributed. A person's aura is the sum total of all the energies gathered into and around that person through the chakras. No matter where these energies originate, they come into the individual through the chakras in the etheric physical body.
In transmission meditation, the masters send energies through the chakras at a particular potency that the individual can support. The energies are automatically stepped down, transformed and distributed, not by the individual, but by the masters, to wherever they are needed in the world. The chakras used are usually the heart, throat, and the 2 head chakras, one between the eyebrows and one at the top of the head.
The people in the groups are asked not to attempt to send the energy to any particular country, group, or individual who they think might benefit from it. Only the masters know this very complex and exact science of planetary energy distribution. The groups need only hold their attention at the ajna center, the center between the eyebrows. The masters do all the rest of the work.
Thus, transmission meditation offers a unique opportunity to serve humanity, working with others right where you are. Transmission meditation is a safe, scientific, non-denominational and extremely potent form of service and personal growth. There is never any fee to participate.
It will not interfere with any other spiritual or religious practice. To the contrary, it will enhance your existing meditations and any other service activities in which you may be engaged. Many people find that they can demonstrate love more easily after regular transmission meditation. Others report that their minds become more stimulated and creative, or that their willpower and overall strength of character improve.
There are hundreds of transmission groups around the world meeting on a regular basis. You may join an existing group in your local area or form your own. To form a group, all you need is the intention and desire to serve. A group may begin with as few as 3 people. Simply invite a few friends of like interest to meet with you regularly. These can then be encouraged to invite others.
No special expertise in meditation is required in order to transmit energy. All that is needed is the ability to maintain an alignment between the physical brain and the soul or higher self. The masters do the rest. Simplicity is the keynote.
You're listening to the World Teacher Program on Wellington's Access Radio 106.1 FM. We'll now read a few questions and answers from the book. In answer to a question regarding the prerequisites for forming a transmission group, Mr. Krem answers as follows.
1 is a desire to serve the world, a simple altruistic motive of serving. It is not the place to seek individual guidance, contact with the astral planes, or messages of any kind. It is simply a giving of oneself in service, acting as a positive mental channel through which the energies sent by the masters can be stepped down.
Another requirement is regularity and continuity. The group should always meet at the same place and time every week. The masters need to know that every Monday, for instance, at a certain location, at 8 o'clock in the evening or whenever, they will find a group of individuals ready and willing to transmit the energies.
The Christ said in Palestine, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am." That is literally true in the energetic sense. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in the name of the masters, or the Christ as the head of the masters, to transmit energy, that energy will flow. Individually you could do it, but the beauty of group formation is that more energy can be safely put through a group than through separate individuals.
In London, we meet 3 times a week and transmit for many hours, seldom for less than 4. We make it a rule that people arrive at 8 and then they can leave whenever they wish. When they leave, they go quietly without disturbing those who stay longer. Do not finish at a certain time at the behest of the least concentrated, or the one who has to leave the soonest. Start together and finish when the energy flow ceases.
However, free will must not be violated, so no one is compelled either to attend the group or to attend regularly. Gradually you will find that you begin to love it and to look forward to that day. You put that day aside. Whatever else you have to do is secondary, because that is your transmission night. Again, the prerequisites are service, regularity, continuity, and commitment. You have to be committed.
Another questioner asks, please describe step by step how to conduct a transmission meditation in my home. Mr. Krem replies, all you need is the desire to serve and some friends who wish to do likewise. Together, arrange a time and a place at which to meet regularly. You might also invite someone from an existing group to an inaugural meeting. This person could go through the procedures with your group.
You need to learn the Great Invocation so that you can say it as a group. Then you sound aloud the Great Invocation in a focused and attentive state. As soon as you do that, you make a telepathic link with the hierarchy of masters. While saying the Great Invocation, you should hold your attention at the Ajna center between the eyebrows. This is the directing center. Hold it there without any kind of strain during the transmission. It is very simple. Raise your attention until it is behind the eyebrows.
You will find that your attention may drop down to the solar plexus center. Your mind will wander. As soon as you realize that your attention is wandering, silently sound Om, and your focus will come back automatically to the center between the eyebrows. Every time your mind wanders off, silently sound Om. Do not meditate on the Om, but use it to bring your attention back.
Keep your eyes closed while meditating, because it is much easier then to hold your attention at the Ajna center. Throughout the transmission meditation, the holding of your attention behind the eyebrows ensures a mental focus. Do not become negative and passive, but hold a very focused, mental, positive position. You will find that the energies themselves hold your attention up.
Time goes very fast. An hour will seem like 15 minutes. Indeed, you will lose all sense of time. It is important to be relaxed, both physically and mentally. That is all you need to do. The masters do the real work.
It is not part of their plan that you transmit these energies to any particular person, group or country. For example, someone might think there's a terrible situation going on in the Middle East, and that he should direct his thought to that area during transmission. This is not what is required. Only the masters know on a scientific basis what energies, in what potencies, in what balance are needed in any particular place at any particular time.
Once the group is established, the masters know exactly who you are and where you are. They see you clairvoyantly. They then send the energies through the group. It is a highly scientific process. They know what that group can take. They know which particular rays or types of energy make up the group, which rays are governing the individuals, and the manipulation of energy is in accordance with that fact. Some people will take one set of energies and some another. In this way, the masters can pour their energy into the world. They need such transformers to do it.
What exactly do you mean by aligning the physical brain with the soul? Mr. Krem replies, sooner or later we have to come into a state of alignment between the physical brain and the soul. That is what meditation does. By meditation you gradually build a channel called the Antakarana, which is a channel of light from the physical plane up to the soul.
Simultaneously, the soul is building the same bridge down toward the physical. This channel, when formed, provides a link between the soul and its vehicle, and vice versa. This is the process whereby the man or woman gradually becomes at one with the soul. The soul grips the vehicle and reflects itself through it. By the use of the mantra Om and holding of the attention at the Ajna center between the eyebrows, an alignment is created between brain and soul.
Since it's not everyone's cup of tea to take part in a transmission meditation group, how do you know whether you are fit or not? Mr. Krem replies, only by practice. It is really a process of self-selection. You go to a transmission group or form a group and do it a few times, and either you are attracted by it and find it useful, satisfying and really rather pleasurable, or you find it such a terrible bore that you never go back.
There is no glamour. There is nothing to talk about. There are no stories, no gurus, no devotion. It is a purely objective, scientific process. It is work, a job. You can do it in any degree of intensity, up to 3 times a week for 3 or 4 hours. Of course, not everyone can maintain that intensity or rhythm, and so it tends to be a self-selective process. Those who cannot do it keep away. Those for whom it is natural tend to be the ones who do it.
This is an act of service. It is service given to you on a plate. Many people today want to serve. People say, "I long to serve, but I don't know how to begin." Well, there is a world to save. There are millions of people starving in the world. There are countless millions who are poverty-stricken, and so on. There is a whole world to change and save and transform. So you do not have to go further than next door to serve. You do not have to go further than your transmission meditation room to serve.
It is service given to you, the simplest, easiest form of service that exists. I can vouch for its effectiveness and its simplicity, but it is not for everyone, because some people want more. They want to have something to talk about. Where am I? Who am I? Does my guru love me? Does he not love me? Is he higher or a lower guru? Is he bigger or lesser than so-and-so? Did you get that marvellous feeling when he looked at you? And so on. There is none of that in transmission work. It is a pure act of service to the world, and so it tends to be self-selecting.
And another question. Does the individual experience positive effects when transmitting energy? Mr. Krem answers, the Christ and the Masters now have at their disposal cosmic energies which they have never had before, in a potency altogether new. Transmission work is a very dynamic process of sending these energies to the world. You cannot do it without receiving them through your centres, which are charged, activated and heightened in their activity as a result.
When the Masters measure advancement, they look clairvoyantly into the world. They do not look into your thoughts to see if you are thinking good or bad thoughts, not at all. They see an individual's inner light, a dim light or a bright one. When they see a steady, brilliant light, they take interest in that individual.
They look at the state of the centres to assess his or her exact point in evolution. They can tell at a glance which centres are open or activated, how much they are open, whether they are spinning fast or slowly, and in which direction, the colours they emit, the quality of the aura, and so on. Then they can evaluate the individual accordingly.
In transmission meditation, the Masters choose the amount of energy for a particular person, and they send it through you. You can understand how potent the transmission of energy from them can be. I do not know of anything which is more potent from the personal evolutionary viewpoint.
It is a hothouse, a forcing process. In a year of this transmission work, you can make the inner growth resulting from many years of other forms of meditation. There are a great many meditations and yoga techniques which aim at the same stimulation of the centres, and, while they may have value and relevance, they can be dangerous unless they are done under the guidance of a master. Transmission work, on the other hand, is always done under the supervision of the masters and is perfectly safe.
Last question. As you continue to do transmission work, does your environment change as you do? Does it evolve as you evolve?
Mr. Krem replies, necessarily so, because you become more radiatory. You radiate a higher frequency of energy and therefore have more impact on your environment. That impact can be for either good or ill, depending on the motive.
If you're taking part in transmission work of this kind, your motive will be one of service to the world, and will inevitably have a beneficial effect on your environment. That is not to say that your environment will necessarily respond to it in a positive way, because it will produce change. Every inflow of higher spiritual energy produces change in the recipient. This is how evolution proceeds, by the nourishment from the kingdom above of the energy which produces the mutation, which produces evolution itself.
So those with whom you live and work will certainly notice a change in your makeup. Those who enter meditation sometimes change profoundly, depending on their character and on the depth to which the soul has penetrated into the individual. You will notice too a build-up of energy in the room and house in which the transmission takes place.
And that concludes our program today. If you would like to purchase the hard copy of Transmission and Meditation for the New Age, please phone 04234 1133. That number again is 04234 1133. Or, for no charge, you can download it or read it online at share-international.org/books, and you'll also find a contact form there to inquire about groups in your area.
Thanks for listening. Our next World Teacher program will be on Saturday the 30th of December at the usual time of 10 a.m. If you would like more information on the emergence of the World Teacher Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom, our phone number is 06 3646 101. That's 06 3646 101. The New Zealand website is shareinternationalnewzealand.wordpress.com, or you can write to P.O. Box 9576 Wellington.
To ask for the full list of books by Benjamin Creme, the phone number is 04234 1133. We also have free of charge monthly newsletter, which contains a small selection of articles from the Share International magazine. That number again is 04234 1133.
You have been listening to Teresa and David on behalf of Share International New Zealand. You can listen again to this podcast and previous ones by visiting our new library at shareinternationalnewzealand.wordpress.com and click on the radio tab.